Now, WJZ's Purple Playbook brought to you by M&T Bank.
Well, the Ravens are fighting for their playoff lives with 3 games left in the regular season. The clearest path to the postseason is for the Ravens to win out. This is Purple Playbook. I'm Alex Glaze, joined as always by 2-time Super Bowl champion Torrey Smith. Torrey, this team has had its back against the wall, feels like for 2 months now. Just what is it going to be like going into this Patriots game just with that sense of urgency?
I mean, it's still that time of the year where in your mind you say, hey, we still control our own destiny. This team, if it wins out, you can very much still win the division. And that seems like the easiest, and like you said, the clearest path to the playoffs. But we know it's a lot easier said than done. This New England Patriots team that they'll have the opportunity to play at the bank this Sunday is a team that has the ability to win. Now, not to be too much of a little bit of a hater, I look at their schedule and I'm like, all right, they were terrible the year before, so they had a pretty light schedule. However, they have a quarterback that's playing at an MVP type level, so you have to take them serious, and they're very well coached.
Yeah.
But this Ravens team is just about taking it 1 week at a time. At this point, no one can look ahead because this could be a situation where, again, you can take care of business, or this can be a team that's still looking kind of lost. But I think everything right now, you win last week, you had the momentum, you got to continue to build on that this week.
Absolutely. A big game on Sunday night. The Patriots are entering Sunday night's game as the 2 seed in the AFC. They're winners in 10 of their last 11 games in one of the surprise teams in the NFL this season. DeAndre Hopkins told me exactly why New England has had so much success this year.
Play variable ball, and that's solid football. Don't make many mistakes. Are going to go out and try to dominate you. Having a coach like Vrabel out there coaching you, man, you want to go out and compete, play hard. I played with him in Tennessee, so I see why those guys are playing the way they're playing, and it's a solid football.
DeAndre Hopkins, obviously a guy that knows Mike Vrabel very well, but it's also funny to me that Vrabel was on the street for the past year trying to figure it out, but now he's been able to come in and have that immediate impact with this Patriots team. What have you seen from this year's Patriots team under Mike Vrabel?
I think you just talk about a team that plays with a certain type of intensity. He alluded to it, but it's a demanding coach, right? But it's a coach that's very relatable. He's been through it before. He's won on both sides as a player and as a coach. So for him, when you have a voice like that, a strong voice like that, he's a guy that you want to go out there and play for. And ultimately, you have guys that have bought in. They picked it up very quickly. They had the talent. And the biggest thing that no one's talking about is that they have a quarterback that's playing at a high level. If you have a quarterback that is playing good ball, you have a chance regardless of how terrible your team may be. And if you were looking at this team a year ago, you would have been like, they have more work to be done. They brought in Stefon Diggs.
Yep.
He helped as a player and as a leader to help shore up the passing game on that side. But also this team is being physical up front. That's something that wasn't as consistent in the past. So you have to give credit when credit's due. The New England Patriots have done a great job of turning this thing around and adding guys to the mix. As you see Matt Collins there, fellow North Marylander there from Montgomery County. I played with them in Philadelphia. So they added some vets that really helped get them over the top to help change the tide along with the coaching change that they had as well.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Maye and Stefon Diggs in a little bit, but I do want to talk about the defense because when I watch the Patriots, that's what stands out to me, just how physical they are. Mm-hmm. They hit hard. They definitely are they're getting to the ball and they're flying around out there. And I think that like when you're talking about mentality, that's what I think the biggest impact that Mike Vrabel's had, just bringing that intensity to
Absolutely. He's a defensive coach.
Absolutely.
Everyone knows.
You're always going to get that right.
Yeah, everyone knows. Whatever your coach is doesn't mean that they don't have the ability to sprinkle a little bit of everything. And sometimes the coordinators kind of have their identity. But I'm a firm believer that whatever the head coach coached the most or wherever his passion lies, you're going to see the best version of that on their team, right? It's kind of like it's like the one thing you kind of lean a little bit that way a little bit more. And for this team, their identity, you have 1,000% seen a change in the attitude that they play with, the swagger they play with, the pressure that they bring. Like he's one of the best defensive coordinators and defensive minds in the game. You add that intensity as a head coach and the standard he's helped elevate it there, they're doing a dang good job up north.
Absolutely. A big game on Sunday night, obviously. And people in Baltimore here love primetime games, love Sunday night football. But this year, the Ravens are 3-5 at home at the bank. The Patriots are undefeated on the road this season. This is obviously a little bit of a different year than what we're accustomed to. Used to the Ravens doing a lot of winning at home, but that hasn't been the case. But Patriots wide receiver Stefon Diggs knows how difficult Ravens fans can make things, but the former Terp sounds like he's looking forward to coming back to Maryland.
It's a home game for me. It's back where I'm from too. So I've been in the league a long time, and I enjoy playing in those hostile environments when it's loud. It's a lot of fun. I think we go in with that mindset that we match that, and you got to match that energy. You got to make plays at a high level. The only way to keep them quiet is you got to make plays, and if you don't, you'll hear a lot from them.
All right, I know that's your guy. Is this really a home game from him? He's from like the D.C. area.
No,
he went to good counsel. I mean, I don't know. It's
all the same. If you step in foot within what we call it an hour drive,
an hour.
It's home. Oh, absolutely. That's just like for myself being in Virginia. The Commanders obviously were a little closer than Baltimore. However, they would both very much be considered home games. And by the way, my thing is if your life is impacted by I-95 in any sort of way, it's a home game for you if you're from this area. So shout out to the Terps and Stefon Diggs and what he's been able to do, having a great year, great impact, coming off of a torn ACL. Yeah. So I'm excited for him and what he's been able to do, but I hope he slows down just a little bit this weekend for the Ravens.
I was going to say, we're going to talk about him more in the next blog. Just what have you seen from Diggs, just kind of over his career? Because I think he's in year 9 right now. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I remember when he was a high school kid from good counsel.
Best highlight tape for a high school receiver, I think, hands down.
Oh, yeah, excellent highlight tape, a playmaker.
His junior year one, I believe.
Yeah, he's a guy that, I've been able to watch him since he was in high school. I was in Maryland and saw this kid up at camp wearing a Clemson shirt on Maryland's campus, by the way. And he was killing everybody, and he was letting everyone know. So to see that he's the same guy, what he's been able to do for his family through this game, how he's been able to lead his brother, Trayvon Diggs, a star corner for the Cowboys. I'm extremely proud of both of those guys and what they've been able to do and impact this game.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to talk more Diggs when we come back. Plus, we're going to talk about the guy you've been alluding to, Drake Maye, who's playing at an MVP level right now, leading this Patriots team to the number 2 seed in the AFC. We have more Purple Playbook coming up after this.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. The winning prognosis, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. Care bravely.
And welcome back to Purple Playbook as we get ready for the big Sunday night football showdown between the Ravens and Patriots. Torrey, we got to talk about this Ravens defense. Coming off their best performance of the year, a shutout in Cincinnati. I mean, this is kind of the performance we've been waiting to see from this unit all year.
Yeah, and they've done an excellent job. You have to give credit when credit's due. It's a defense that has taken its lumps all season, and they really put it all together against a team and Joe Burrow, who looked excellent on Thanksgiving night here at the bank, to go on the road, do it up there when you're on the offense. When you're offensively, when you're on the road, you have the advantage, right? There's no crowd noise. You had the opportunity to be comfortable. Yet this Ravens defense made Joe Burrow very uncomfortable. And we saw the pass rush that we've seen be just a little bit inconsistent. However, this team has been getting better and better week in, week out on the defensive side of the ball. And you have to like the direction that they're going in. If this defense can play this way, it for sure buys the offense time to get back to that number 1 type offense that we saw the first few weeks of the season.
Absolutely. Well, earlier in the week, we heard from Ravens safety Alohi Gilman, and he spoke about how this defense is looking to build on that performance in Cincinnati.
I think anytime you can stack performances, it builds trust, it builds that ability to stay confident in these situations. So our defense is in the right direction. We talked about December football being at our best, and just keep stacking wins and keep stacking good performances, and everything will take care of itself.
For me, what stands out about that performance in Cincinnati, the pass rush was there it felt like the first time this year, right? Tavius Robinson obviously coming back was a big boost, but with Tavius coming back, it felt like they were able to move Draymond Jones around, put him on the edge, and put him in a position to win. Just that, to me, when you're able to put pressure on the quarterback, that opens up a lot of things. It makes it easier for your defensive backs, easier for your linebackers. And when I'm looking at this Patriots team, Drake Maye sacked 43 times this year, one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. I think that's going to be another key on Sunday.
It will, and the opportunities will be there to win your one-on-one matchups. And you have to give credit when credit is due there as well. I think Eric DeCosta, that trade for Draymond Green was one at the middle of the season.
Draymond Jones.
Draymond, I'm talking basketball here. Draymond Jones. We have people that are like, well, who is this guy? How is he going to help? And if you watch the film, you see week in, week out, he's able to impact this game. And the biggest difference between this defense earlier in the season and now, they're getting home. Yeah. They were getting a little bit of pressure, and it's got a little bit better week by week. Now they're finishing, and they're getting home. This week, it's another great opportunity. I like the Ravens matchup defensively up front. versus this New England Patriots offense. And Drake Maye is a guy that he's not a stick figure back there. He's mobile. It's not old school Tom Brady. This is a guy who can move around, and there'll be opportunities to catch him while he's trying to extend plays and get home to make a big impact for this defense.
Well, it seems like not too long ago we were talking about this defense being one of the worst units in the entire NFL. They've really turned things around. We just look at the numbers here over the last 8 weeks. We're talking about opponent red zone touchdown percentage. The Ravens are at the top of the league right now. Top 3, or they're third ranked in overall points allowed, allowing less than 16 points per game. And then the big thing, takeaways, something that we didn't see a whole lot of at the beginning of the year. 13 takeaways in the last 8 games. That's a recipe for success.
Absolutely. And the Ravens' formula is to take the ball away, but also keep it. And the reason why some games have been a little sticky is because the offense has been giving it away, and there haven't been enough on the opposite end. So that spectrum should swing the other way. That pendulum should swing the other way. And I think the biggest key for this defense is heading in the right direction. Now the key is, I think the running game offensively is starting to kind of heat up just a little bit, but you have to make sure in the passing game you're able to be consistent, and that's the one thing that's been struggling.
All right, I do want to talk about this Patriots offense, and I think we have a full screen that shows Drake Maye and his numbers so far this year, because we're talking about how he's played at an MVP level. Just look at these numbers right here, Torrey. This is just passing, right? Because he also, even though he hasn't really done a whole lot with his legs, we know he's capable of that.
Absolutely.
And just had 2 rushing touchdowns against the Bills. So it seems like those legs, he's not afraid to use them, especially if it's going to win them games. But what have you seen from Drake Maye in his second year? It's been such a big leap from a growth perspective.
Yeah, you've seen confidence, right? I think he's been decisive. That's the one thing when we talk about quarterbacks in this league, and really quarterbacks at any level. If you see a quarterback that's decisive, he's making the quick decisions, that means the game is slowing down for him, right? When you see a guy out there patting the ball, late on throws, they're just not as comfortable with what they're seeing. And I think for him, coming out, I would have said he was a guy he was more of a potential type prospect. I don't think he truly lived up to what his athleticism showed back in college. I thought he was a solid player, and he was definitely worth the first round pick. I think now you're seeing the dividends of what people projected him to be. And so for this Patriots offense, he has been the guy to get them in check. The one thing that I love about watching him is that you can see the leadership abilities. When you're watching games, you're seeing how he's responding. You're seeing how his team is responding to him. And that's the number one sign to me out of a quarterback that has it, because there's some guys, even at the highest level, they'll be in the huddle and they'll speak, and you'll see guys that is going through one ear and out of the other. He's a guy that commands the respect of his team, and you can tell it's been earned. And in year 2, it says a lot about his growth and the work that he's put in.
And I think the other thing that the Patriots did to help him is go out and get a veteran receiver like Stefon Diggs, who I cut short last block and said 9 years, 11 years he's been in the league here. But to go out and get a vet like that, who's been a good vet, it sounds like, in that locker room, he's his favorite target. And he is the guy. He's not leading them in touchdowns or anything like that. And, I feel like over the years, Diggs has gotten such a bad rap for being a diva and all that. But it sounds like nothing but positivity coming from him. And even when things weren't going right necessarily at the beginning, it seems like he's just breathed a whole new sense of confidence into him, like you were talking about.
And I'm proud of Diggs. There are so many people in this world that like to judge him. Stefon Diggs is probably the most competitive person I know. And that's what comes out every single time that he's on the field. And that same passion that other players get grace for, it seems like it comes off as an attack when it comes to him. And if he has an attitude or he loses his mind, but at the end of the day, it's coming from a place of I want to win. You're not going to find any player out here that's played with Diggs that's going to call him a bad teammate, right? Diggs works hard at everything he does on and off the field, whether he's back here in Maryland training with Myron Flowers from Domain Fit, or if he's out there in Florida putting the work in. Wherever he is, he's going to put the work in. And that's the type of guy that you have to have on your team, because now you have young guys that are able to look and say, hey, this is how it's supposed to look. Diggs hasn't had the opportunity to win a Super Bowl yet. However, he has a Super Bowl winning mindset, and he's a competitor at that level. So there's no surprise that you're able to see it. The one thing that people aren't giving him enough credit for is he's doing the right things, and there are no blow-ups, right? That's the thing that we on the outside like to see, right, and talk about. But the reality of it is he's handling business the way that I've always known him to handle it, and you're seeing that work out very well for this team.
Absolutely. Well, big game on Sunday night. Stefon Diggs, a homecoming, I guess, if you consider the proximity, I guess a homecoming. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, a lot happened over the last week around the NFL. We're going to check in and get Torrey's thoughts when Purple Playbook continues.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. The Bottom Line, brought to you by M&T Bank.
And welcome back to Purple Playbook. It's time for something or nothing. I'm going to throw out a topic, and Torrey, you tell me if it's something or nothing. We got to start with the big news this past week in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes tears his ACL. Obviously, a massive loss for the Chiefs, who were eliminated from the postseason last weekend. Is this the end of the Chiefs' dynasty? Is that something or nothing?
I think that's a bunch of nothing because Patrick Mahomes will recover from his injury. Prayers out to him for a speedy recovery. The timing of the year makes it a little tough because it's harder to play at the beginning of the year. But the reality of it is, with the way sports science is and recovery these days, I wouldn't be surprised if he's back come week 1. So, yeah, they might have to change it up a little bit. Maybe Travis Kelce is gone.
I was going to say
However,
Kelce, Chris Jones, Andy
Reid,
Reid, maybe retirement.
Yeah, some of those vets are there, but I don't care. As long as you have Patrick Mahomes, I don't care. I can go coach them. And you stand a chance with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback.
As long as 15's there, everything's
Absolutely.
good. Okay. Let's stay with quarterbacks. Talk about one that's right down the road in D.C., Jaden Daniels, getting shut down for the year after re-injuring his arm. Jaden Daniels getting shut down. Is that something or nothing?
I think it's a bunch of nothing, too, even though everyone in the DMV is going to want to say, oh, my goodness, it's RG3. Stop putting RG3 on Jaden Daniels. Like, that drives me nuts. You know, first of all, his injuries have been a hamstring, and then now he had a dislocation on his non-throwing arm. Like, I mean, come on, man. He's fine. Talking about a guy that has all-pro type talent, a guy that's going to help lead this and change this franchise here. He is the face of it. I think you rest him. You put yourself in a better position to get a solid draft pick. And by the way, they have a whole lot of money to spend next year in free agency.
Yeah, I just think it's something because you put him back out there, and I think he wanted to be out there. Obviously, it's the competitive side of him, but just clearly didn't know how to protect himself. I mean, the interception is one thing. You just can't take that hit and take that fall. We see Aaron Rodgers out here playing with a broken hand. And he's able to get it done because he knows how to protect himself and get it done. So I think that's something.
Well, you got to think, if they were in the playoff hunt, he'd be on the field. This is 1,000% let's put some bubble wrap around our franchise guy.
You think that he'd be on the field if they were in the playoff hunt? That would mean they won games with.
Oh yeah, if they were in the playoff hunt, he's not getting shut down. This is let's make sure nothing dumb happens so you can go into next offseason fully healthy.
Okay. All right. Let's get our last one here. We're going to stay with quarterbacks. All three quarterbacks today. Grandpa Phillip Rivers making his comeback, 44 years old, almost leads the Colts to a win. I really thought they were going to get done when they kicked that last-second field goal. But Phillip Rivers making his comeback at 44 years old. Something or nothing?
It's something because it's cool being that he was coaching. Look at him. His whole body, nothing about him looks like he was ready to play in the NFL. However, they called him, and he actually didn't do a bad job. Personally, I would have went and I would have called Cam Newton, who's still very much in shape. But I think Phillip Rivers did a great job to go from coaching a high school team, leading them, having your kids watching the game. That was really cool to see. But this Colts team isn't going anywhere with Phillip Rivers at quarterback. I'm sorry.
Quarterback's got to be the only position where you could do that right. They can come back straight off the couch.
Like that. You have quarterbacks, you have golfers, and you have certain baseball players can look like they do absolutely nothing all day in their life. Drink, eat whatever, and still get paid a lot of money and play at a high level. There are very few people that can do it. And, Phillip Rivers has, if we had a dad bod ranking, he's at the tops of dad bod ranking, but that's because he had no intentions of coming back. It's been years since he retired.
He was literally coaching. I think it's funny, too, when he got asked in his intro press conference, someone asked him how much he weighs, and he was just like, I don't know. He knows exactly. Looked like he put on a couple, but he knows exactly how much he weighs. All right, we're going to take a break and wrap up the show. When we come back, more Purple Playbook after this.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. Now, WJZ's Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank.
And welcome back to Purple Playbook. As we wrap up the show, Torrey, got to get your thoughts on your guy, Kyle Van Noy, the pick six, the savvy veteran move to hand it off to the young fellow, Alohi Gilman, let him take it all the way. Your thoughts as you're watching? When I was watching, gave me flashes of Ed Reed, who visited practice last week.
I loved it. Reminded me of Ed Reed, but it also reminded me of how smart he was because he looked down and realized he wasn't going to make it, and he didn't flick it to him. He said, let me hand this to you. Let's protect this football, and you go ahead and do what you do. He was out earlier this year with that little hamstring injury. He wanted to make sure he knew he couldn't make it all the way down in full stride, and it was a huge play for the defense. You don't get that shutout and that extra touchdown without it, which takes pressure off of the offense. I was excited for him.
I have a take. The handoff more risky than the flip, I think, in that spot. The handoff is you've been around track a lot. You know how if that handoff's not right, the baton drop. I mean,
yeah, but the baton.
If your hands are your hands in that moment,
football, I don't know, man, because your toss can be a little. If he might throw the ball behind him, and now you know what I mean. You're real, and you got a one-hand catch it. So I think the flick, as a guy who ran the option in high school, sometimes if you miss, it's bad news. You got to toss the ball right back to him.
Well, listen, they got that play, they got the touchdown, they got the win, and still keeping their playoffs hopes alive. But they are still in control of their own destiny. We have the game here for the team that everyone here in Baltimore is watching, aside from the Ravens. Steelers taking on the Lions before the Ravens kick off Sunday afternoon at 4:25. Obviously a big one, Torrey. The Ravens going to know what the result of that one is before kickoff. As a player, though, are you paying attention to that? Or
yes.
Okay.
Anyone that says they aren't, they're going to tell you they're not. They're focused on the game. But I'm here to tell you right now they're lying, okay? You want to know what's going on so you know that you can control what you can control. So, hey, let's go Lions.
That's funny. That's why we have Torrey here. But it's not going to impact how you play.
No, not at all, because
you know you still have to handle it.
Yeah, no matter what happens, you have to win the game. So they can lose all they want. If you blow it, you're still on the same playing ground. Matter of fact, I would argue you lose ground because the wild card spot is still an option. You keep losing, that wild card spot, the way the AFC looks right now, is real iffy.
Absolutely. All right. Well, big one on Sunday night. Ravens taking on the Patriots. That's going to do it for this week's Purple Playbook. I'm Alex Glaze. He's two-time Super Bowl champion Torrey Smith. We do this show every week. We will see you next week.